We should send Krista down to the shop for us.
Why?
So we can get some Primo.
You need more?
I'm out of Primo. I stole yours.
Oh, I don't think she's gonna go to the shop, honey.
Then I'll do it later.
All right. Come on, Tiny. I'm gonna take Tiny outside. Come on. Come on. Come on.
Oh, I just realized I can probably talk. But yeah, I'm doing a biblical story with aliens in it, but the aliens are not part of the biblical story. They are part of the modern day world where the biblical story is being shared. And I have a fly that keeps flying around me, and he or she needs to understand that's not a very good idea. But yeah, I've been at it since 12. I took a 3-hour nap between 4 and 7ish. And now I just have to catch up. Well, hopefully it works out. It's strange. And the thing about the 24-hour comic is it's a great time to experiment and do strange things. So I'm going with this little story that I came up with yesterday morning. And right now, all this artwork is kind of getting slung in. And then as time goes on, I'll go back and touch it up, just like you see here. It all started off as just, major brush strokes. And then I'll go back in and I go over it. I expect to do at least 2 passes on this artwork. Maybe more. We'll see how much time permits. That's what really is the crunch. Because in a lot of ways, this is how I do my comics when I do them regular, but it's different. Because it's much faster, a lot less time to work out some of the technical stuff. So you just got to wing it. Kind of like if you made comics in school, like I did when I was a kid, you would just wing it. Do what you could and have fun while you do it. So yeah. UFOs and King David. I didn't mess with the biblical story, though. I wouldn't change that. That can get you in trouble with the big guy. Let's see. So now I'm going to put in my lines, my borders, at least the initial ones. I usually end up having to redraw these too, but okay, I need the thicker pen. All right. Good enough. The thing to remember is these are, it's going into 24-hour comics, so I will make a lot of compromises. Yeah, no trouble with the big guy, please. I love the big guy. Nobody wants to get him on. Nobody wants to get on his bad side. I don't believe. Not really. Demons may try to act like they don't care, but they all care. Just like when Jesus was talking to Legion and all the demons were like, "Have you come to torment us?" Nope. But you can get out of that dude right now. And so they did. Then they chose pigs, and then the pigs killed themselves. Really bizarre. All right. So I'm putting in page 5 with 12 hours to go. 12 hours to do 18 pages. Yeah, this is totally doable. It doesn't have to be my best work. It just has to be legible, good, and if I like it enough, I'll end up putting it in a book. So now I have to do a little bit of scripting so I don't fall behind. There will be no colors, at least in the 24-hour version. I could color it before I go to press, but I don't know. What am I going to name the rabbi? I'll go with Joshua. Hey, Lorenzo. Yeah, you know what? The problem with the quality thing, though, is there's a fine line. And what happens, and this has been said by many masters, when you put too much effort into a cartoon or a comic, you often lose the energy and the thing that makes it flow properly because everything becomes too stilted. Let's see. Yeah, I'm a little more merciful, Tim. I'll go as much as like every other month, like bi-monthly, 6 months, 6 a year. But yeah, some of these pros and particularly guys that used to have to do it, it's bizarre to see like, oh, I'm just going to take a year or two to do a comic. But I've learned not to judge them harshly. They have a customer base that'll pay for it. So I'm like, okay, if you can get away with it, I suppose that's great. It doesn't mean that I got to back it. It's funny because I heard EBS say, on the mailing God, they were gods or godsons or whatever the book is. I heard him say that was like his yearly, his income for the year. And there's nothing wrong with that. But I was like, so that means that's the project for the year. Like, that's it. That's, it seems like, well, it is definitely intentional. So it's a marketing thing and how they're functioning, I guess. All right, let's see. Yeah, that's true. Um, to be honest, I don't understand the pace. It's really it's mind-boggling to me because if I had to take that long personally, I would lose interest. I like to have it shuffling along. Oh. Messed that one up. There we go. Yeah, when a new project is stalled out, it feels like you've been cheated. Personally, again, I'm speaking from my own experience, but oh, that was weird. There we go. So I know this is really boring, but I'm only doing a stream because I couldn't get Discord's video to work, and I was doing this in a Facebook chat room with video and everything, and it kept bouncing me out because I didn't have anybody in there. So I know the stream will hold up. I know I can like look away and it'll keep going. So that's pretty much what's happening here. At this point, I'm lettering a few of the pages so I don't fall behind on that part of it. And also, I'm going to get Diana to take a peek at it as an editor. So I have to have the script written for her to edit it. All right. No. Now I move on to the next page. Well, that's good, man. I just looked up, saw you're feeling better now. It's easy in this world to get down. I get down too. It's not really fun right now in the world. I just want to make comics. It would be nice to have a hit, but I've just gotten used to people not liking me. Twitter makes me feel like everybody hates me, so I just want to do my thing. Screw 'em. I watch the Twitter crowd go nuts over shit all the time, and I'm like, okay, whatever. I can't play in that crowd. I don't play that well. Every now and then, I'll say something, but yeah, doesn't pay off. There's not a lot good there unless you're willing to be involved in groups and stuff like that. And I don't think Facebook is any better, to be honest. But it's different. It's not better. I think my only real problem with Facebook is that everybody I work with is on it. So it's kind of weird. I have to almost self-censor or face certain prejudices at work, be it political, religious, that kind of thing. Because I work with a very different bunch of people. Or maybe that's not the word, a wide variety of people. Yeah. Some don't like Jesus that much. Some love Jesus. Some don't know Jesus. Some think they know Jesus. It's just interesting. I know during the last election, I got several attitudes because I wouldn't denounce the orange-haired guy based on propaganda. I mean, if you wanted to go after Trump, there were plenty of things you could go after him on without having to like invent things. And I didn't, my position on Trump didn't change the national position one bit. So I'm like, a lot of times when they tell you you have to change and make statements or else you're in compliance or complicity or whatever, I'm like, whatever. Think what you like, because I'm not playing that way. All right, so here we have a scene where the American rabbi, Joshua Baker, is being abducted by aliens. Dun, dun, dun. And normally I wouldn't do these lines so flippantly and quickly and nonchalantly. I am using the grid at least. And I'll probably redraw them when I go back later this evening to clean it up. Because I see some stuff a little crooked. I'll go in and fix all that. Yeah, that's true, Lorenzo. And Tim and Mark, you mean Carmen America? They also have one of the most unique and recognizable indie characters out there. Like they did a great job with that whole thing, because it really does stand out. Like I'm not saying other characters don't, but she is an eye catcher. She has that anime glow, and yet she's American. I don't know. It's cool. I haven't bought one yet, unfortunately. I still need to catch their campaign, but I'm waiting on other campaigns to come in. I only do like 2 or 3 at a time. Yeah, it's true. Arguments are a waste of time and energy, and they're fruitless, and they always bite you in the ass later. Ooh, got a hole somewhere. There we go. Thanks, Apple. Fucking yeah, he is, Lorenzo. Guys, I'll be right back. I gotta go make a coffee as I'm out or almost out. Oh, thanks for hanging. If you leave before I come back, I love you, but I'll be back. Oh.
How are you? Good. I think from Lotto attract attention to the yard sale at 88 Summit Avenue. You're amazing. I just said, there's a yard sale at 88 Summit. And you pulled her.
Do 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 do. Oh yeah, hi guys. I was yelling about a yard sale. My wife is having one outside, and nobody was there, so I yelled out our address. I wonder if I just doxed myself, but anyways, I yelled out, and somebody pulled right up. Sometimes it just takes a little luck. I'm surprised I was that loud. I better watch my wording. I got to plan on lunch soon. I'm going to have to get my own because they're getting Asian bistro or something like that. It sounded really bizarre to me. So, yeah, I'll get my own. I'm finding the best way to do this isn't to just sit down and hammer out the hours successively without taking breaks. Okay, and I need a sound effect here. Let's see. Well, yeah, it did work. People came. I don't mind if people know my address because it's out there, but I'm like, yeah, you don't want to be yelling it if you're, oh, why did I put color on that? This is black and white. Doing. So ultimately, this will end up on the website and it'll end up as a backup feature somewhere on one of my books if it's any good. But it will be on the site for free because, it's a 24-hour comic. It's not going to be my greatest work, but it will be cool. Get rid of the shadow. Thing is, I keep thinking too much, and that's going to be the death of me. The tag worked. I'm sorry. That's very cool. Hello. I've done one of these previously. The last one was a tale about a character called Bloodpuff, and it appeared at the back of Last of the Reapers. And that one, oddly enough, was about a mutant villain who could turn adult pedophiles into children so they could diddle each other. And he took down a whole compound of people that were doing that. And the reason I did the story like that in the 24-hour comic was because Diana didn't care for the story. So she kind of gave me open territory to do it there. But it was a dark story. And really, I'd like to give it more attention and really develop the characters and all. But it's a very touchy subject and it's very dark. But I was imagining rich sickos that would just like, bring their mistress in and have her devolved to a 7-year-old. And then, because it's consensual, there was a loophole. But Bloodpuff, of course, doesn't play with loopholes. And he took it down despite the legal loopholes that they thought they were safe under. Yeah, it was an interesting story. This one, I'm actually about to get into the biblical part of the story. Because the aliens have just abducted a rabbi who they want to explain what happened to the Lost Ark, the one that's in Raiders of the Lost Ark, in fact. And there's some biblical stuff from 1 Samuel that I'm going to use to outline that story. Well, and what's going to be fun is the aliens, these are the aliens here, and they're basically humanoids. So as cheesy as it'll sound to some, the rabbi will end up witnessing to the aliens. But that would be the logical step in a story with a rabbi. So he's going to try to evangelize the aliens because they're humanoid enough. He if they weren't mankind, they couldn't be saved according to the covenant, not under Jesus. There'd have to be another way, because Jesus died for man. He didn't die for everything else. He didn't die for angels or demons or Nephilim. It was all about mankind, because we're special and made in his image, so it says. But yeah, that's where the story came from. And it was actually, I asked the rabbi last year if he could think of a Bible story that he thought would be good as a comic, and he actually chose this one. And I've been talking to him. Well, actually, I talked to him all day yesterday through messaging and stuff, but just trying to get an idea of how not to screw it up. Because you can't, I don't know, you can do whatever you want. But for me, I don't want to take too many liberties with the Bible and start changing things or tweaking, the plot and stuff, because you could really mess with the Bible in terms of, throwing twists in there or doubt or dramatization. They've done it a lot in movies where they'll dramatize something and get it really wrong. Yeah, I gotta make him look older too. But that's all right. So this is just like pass number 1. And then pass number 2 will have to be more to the ground and solidify it. All right. So right now the rabbi is being beamed up, teleported to the flying saucer. And the nice thing about a teleportation is I'm not going to draw a lot of detail, just a silhouetted outline. And believe it or not, that saves a ton of time on a 24-hour comic. I do plan on going back and grayscaling everything, though. That'll be probably closer to 10:30 tonight as the hours tick away. And I want to make sure that we keep the Star of David, because the Star of David, they see the Star of David, the aliens, as a significant symbol of the Ark of the Covenant because of King David. And this tourist rabbi happened to be wearing one when they were scanning Jerusalem for an expert. So he gets sucked into space for it. Twisted. At least he's not going to be probed or anything. Not physically, at least. They're going to want him to answer questions, though. And I think I won't get to it in this story, but if I ever do another with these two guys, these two aliens, I'll probably make them descendants of Enoch, who actually was supposedly lifted away. Yeah, I hear you, bro. I'm reading Reckless Trucker. I assume that's Christopher. Our friend Christopher. Procreate. So ever since iOS 15 came out, I repeatedly have these little issues. So let me refire up the program, and now it should work again. I contacted Apple, and of course, they have not quickly resolved the issue. They're going to have to do a patch, I'm sure. I'm not the only one. Why is it not working? Oh, I know why. Yep, I drained the pen to 0. So, guys, I'm going to take like a 10-minute break, maybe a 20-minute break, and grab my lunch. I'll be back, and I'll run a bunch of videos while I'm gone. But, of course, I don't expect anybody to stay. If you want to come back later, hang out, that's great. If you want to hang out and chat, that's great, too. I'm just going to be getting my lunch. So, let's see. I will simply run a video file from Hero Shack Chronicles. It'll be pretty boring, especially if you've seen it before. I'll be back. Hey, bro, I just got back from lunch.
What's up?
See what I decided to do? I just put it in a stream. I'm like, shit.
Hey,
Hang on, I got to turn you up. My volume's low.
do what you got to do.
And there we go. I hear you.
Do what you got to do.
Yeah, yeah. Well, life is crazy here today. Diana's got a yard sale and kids are showing up. I'm like, oh, shoot. But all of them have been pretty understanding, so.
Yeah.
Couldn't get my daughter to agree to it, though. I said, you need to do this next year. No way. She's like, oh, that's crazy. It's not as crazy as you think.
No.
I'd love to see her try because it really does add a whole dimension to what you do, you know?
Yeah. I'd like to see her try this.
Well, I think she's going to end up doing mashups. We were talking just now. And she's like, oh, I'll do like Pokemon, like you did as superheroes. And I'm like, well, you can, but that's copyright stuff. So you got to be careful. And
Yeah.
we'll see what she does with it. I don't know. I'm like, if we get any art out of her, I'll be really happy.
Hey.
She's like, yeah.
We're going to do it her way. So.
Yeah, just like all of us did. But I'm like that old artist in the back going, come on, kid, you can do it. And yet she doesn't yet, but she will one day. I got to remember to peek at the chat. I never even look. Well, I was earlier, but it was hard to look. There he is. Okay, that's up. So how's your book coming, bro?
So far, so good.
I think mine is too, for what it's going to end up being. I think I got it, but I thought that last time too, so can't get too cocky.
Well, that's not.
But it's like every time I go take a break, it takes longer than I think.
Yeah.
Like I went for breakfast, Dunkin' Donuts, and my gas station was closed. And so I had to go to the next one. And of course, it was twice as full as normal because the other one was closed.
Yeah.
And this was the lunch break. And I'm like, oh my God, everything's taking forever today.
Oh,
I think they had a parade. What's that? Yeah, it always does. I think they had a parade through the town today.
Yeah, today is also the 2nd of October, so.
Yeah, but these people should know we're busy. They got to get out of my way. Yeah, there's a little bit of attitude. I'm like, yeah, come on, man. Why y'all stop at red lights? I got to get going.
Why do I have to stop at the red lights?
Yeah, man. There's no traffic coming. Just go. We can see no one's coming. Of course, they probably saw the cop behind the sign. You know what I mean? Like, around going, there's no one here. But there is someone here. You just don't see him.
Right. Now that would make an interesting book there.
Yeah. Well, it's funny every time. This is the second time, but there's so many ideas that I think, wow, I would like to do something on that. I'd like to do something on that. And there's just never really enough time, you know,
I know.
to do everything that you dream of.
But you do know we don't have to wait till October to do this, right?
Yeah. Well, I do make books year round. It's just this here is like a whole nother beast. Like, it's like when I tweeted on Twitter, you know, anybody else doing this? No one responded. It's like almost an intimidation, you know? It's like asking, you know, people who have a lot of ego and pride to just put it aside and shit a book out. and let go of all that, you know, concern about quality for 24 hours and just see what you can spit out. You might surprise yourself. I know I always do.
Most people do surprise themselves.
And it turns out, like it's something that you remember afterwards. It's an experience. It's not just it's not like a draw stream where you're drawing someone's character or something like that. It's memorable.
Mm-hmm. Do it and then get it over with.
Yep. And then you can say you did it. And then if you're like us, you go, but I want to do it again.
Exactly.
And actually now it's kind of like a video game. I just want to get a book, 24 pages done in 24 hours because I failed last time. I'm like, and using it like this one as the organization for it, it's like, oh yeah, there's a year build. And I have thought about it most, off and on all year. It's just I didn't come up with a firm idea until the morning before. Okay. Now I get to play with my digital world. There we go. Move it just a little. So basically, what's that?
Is Timothy coming in?
He wasn't here earlier. I don't think he. Oh, you mean the new Timothy?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't even know if he knows how to find me. He went out shortly after you did, and I don't know if he's gonna finish. He did his 22-page or 24-page thumbnail.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he said he had a ton of work to put out before he could get there. And I understand that. I'm like, yeah, but like the only reason I went to sleep was I was just exhausted. I was like, I can fight through this and be, miserable tomorrow. Or I was going to take a 5-hour nap. It turned out to be a 3-hour nap, which turned out to be enough. And here we are back at the board, loving it. And like, I'm looking at this art and I'll probably save the file before I do a final grayscale on it so I can go back and fix it more if I really like it.
Yeah.
I kind of like the two aliens. All right. And you know what, Terry? I had a hard time squeezing it into 24 pages. Like I've had to cut so much of what I wanted to put in.
Yeah. It's understandable.
Well, it's that economy of pages that I haven't dealt with in my own, personal books. I just make them until they're done. It's a little harder when you try to master it into 24. What do you drop? What exposition gets, left out? What matters and what doesn't? Like I had a whole plot line planned out for the two guards that guard the ark before it goes back to Israel, the Philistines. And I dropped it totally because I'm like, I have no page. I don't have enough room to make these guys' story happen. And that's weird for me. I don't usually do that. I just say, oh, look, I'll have to add 4 or 5 pages for this. Discipline is necessary.
Mm-hmm.
And these aliens, I turned them into basically 1950s styled geeks with little antennas on the side of their heads.
Okay.
But that actually is going to work out because if they weren't humanoid, they would definitely not be eligible for the salvation of Jesus at the end.
Yeah.
But because they seem human, he can at least take them to dinner. That's how it's going to end. He's going to take them to dinner to talk about the current arc of the covenant, which is, the believer. And that's not going to be in the comic. He's just going to invite them to the dinner. But yeah, if they were like slimy or hairy, weirdos, not weirdos, but aliens.
It would be good.
Yeah, you'd have to say, no, you're disqualified automatically. And that's something I'm dealing with Cyclopean because he believes he's an alien. He thinks that he's not, qualified to be a Christian, and he can't take what do they call that? The sacrament, when you eat the bread and drink the wine. He can't do either. He can't confess with his lips. There's so many things he can't do. And of course, some churches would be quite critical and say, nope, you can't be here. This is for humans. But little do they know he's actually a genetically modified human. That's a twist I probably shouldn't share. But we have no viewers, so that's okay. Then have to watch the review.
It's gonna come out sooner or later, so
Yeah, well, I'm building up to it now. With issue 3, at the end of issue 2, we're dealing with the rise of Queen Sting, and Cyclopean was leaving the Squid, but he never makes it to Queen Sting. That's going to instead be handled by Forevertron, who's been stalking Cyclopean for the first 3 issues. And he's really a robotic wizard who thinks he's like helping the Earth and here to protect it. And he thinks Cyclopean is actually the evil false god Ra from Egypt, ancient days. So it's kind of like you know how they always have heroes fight heroes before they're buddies?
yeah.
It's going to be an extended version of that sort of storyline. Like it's going to go on for a while before they figure out that, you know, neither one is really the bad guy they think they are.
Right.
And hopefully, ultimately, I can have a group of freaks by the time I'm done. That's my goal. My own personal, what do they call that group on cable? Oh, not the Titans. It's not Metal Men. Not Suicide Squad. It's a DC group.
Oh, the Titans.
No, the other one, the weird one with
Oh, the Doom Patrol.
Yes, that's the one. I want to have my own little Doom Patrol. I used to love Doom Patrol in the comics when I could get them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, when they'd show up, I'd always grab them, and they were always a little different. I liked it. All right, here we go. A little more lettering. This is weird. I wonder if I keep not saving this. Nope. Okay, it seems to work that time. The program is supposed to remember the settings I set up for like captions, and it keeps seemingly forgetting. Yeah, Apple just updated, so everything's acting funny. They need to patch.
They're always patching a patch.
Aren't they, though? It's like, oh my God, not again.
I don't care what smartphone you have, it's always going to patch a patch.
Yeah, the problem is I'm on their iPad, which is a very similar OS. They call it the iPad OS, but it's basically iOS for iPads.
Yeah.
And so, like, where I'm so reliant on it, it's really a sticky thing for me to like have to deal with. I did contact them on Twitter, and they gave me the runaround. Sent me to like 4 different articles that did not address my issue at all. And finally, they said, "Why don't we talk privately on a DM?" And I was like, "No, why don't you just tell me there is no fix for it yet, and to wait for the update?" And I left them at that. I'm like, I'm not going to play this game. You guys just don't want to tell people you can't fix the feature.
And normally they don't.
Yep. Well, eventually they're going to have to, because there's these 3 dots at the top of my art screen. Here, I'll show you what I'm talking about, because I know this is going to affect a lot of people. But up here where I choose my like, okay, this would be my penciling page, my lettering layer, and this would be where I paste my artwork from Procreate. And those three boxes that keep appearing, that's their split screen technology. So I can put 2 apps next to each other, and I'm like, I don't want to put 2 apps next to each other. I want to have my selection switch so I can paste new artwork in there, and it's a real pain in the butt. So like, this is one app, this is another, and all I wanted to do was switch to the middle feature right there, that little pencil. And if I keep digging at it, there it goes. It finally goes, but it takes like 3-4 tries, and it's painful, bro.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't believe this is happening to me right now.
It's gonna be painful. That's the whole point.
Yeah, but you'd think they'd be nice to me. I'm looking for a new tablet. I'm like, I almost did the whole I'm going to go to Wacom, but I didn't do that because that sounds so petty. Fine, you won't help me. I'm leaving. Nah, I'll just leave if I'm going to leave and not tell them. That's what I did last time I abandoned Apple. I've left Apple before.
Mm.
Good job.
Yeah, but you went back for some reason.
This is the exact reason I went back exclusively for the iPad, because I saw a couple of artists, including my son, use it.
Mm-hmm.
And I realized for me what a game changer it would be. And once I tried it and had it for a couple of days, I was like, yep, this is my future. And now it's like they're already plotting on how I can get my new one so I can give my new old one to my daughter, because she cracked the screen on my old one, if that's not confusing enough. She got my last iPad and dropped it accidentally, so the screen is cracked now. And so my wife wants to give her the one I'm using right now and upgrade mine to the new M1. And how do I say no to that? You know, no, I won't upgrade. So we'll be doing that this week. Yay. The only good news is I get to take it off on taxes for the company because it's a business expense.
Mm-hmm.
And here's another thing I get to cheat on that you guys in traditional don't get to do unless you go digital at some point, and that's digital lettering. For better or worse, you know, it's just a quicker thing to mess with. All right. Oh snap! That was weird.
What happened?
My whole letterbox disappeared into itself. I had to like undo it to bring it back. Screwy stuff. I'm telling you, they need to fix their update. If you're listening, Apple.
I'm gonna show you what I've done so far.
Oh, sweet. Oh, shit. Look, I'm stealing the whole screen, too.
Well, this is page 1.
Yeah. I'm getting your screen really big so I can see it. There we go. Oh, yeah. I see a cityscape.
Yeah.
All right. All right.
News. Bring in our main character in meditation.
Very nice. What's it say in the background, the Japanese? Do you know?
Yeah. I'm gonna redo that because I get the character backwards.
I have no idea how to read it. I was just curious.
Well, here we go. Everything gets set up to this point. Right now, I'm working on page 7.
Very cool. Hang on, I think I can share what I'm doing too.
Yeah.
I don't know how far I've got. I think I might be on page 7. None of them are final. Yeah, I just scripted page 7, which is it's really. I have to keep everything in 24 pages, which it sucks. So
Yeah.
that's my opening page where the spaceship is coming to Earth. You can see I'm just following like that classic 50s kind of motif.
That's cool.
So these pages I haven't blackened yet. That's what I call it. Like this has like my shadows as I'm going to leave them. This needs the treatment, but it'll get there. Here you see them looking for the Ark of the Covenant. They can't find it. Down here we get introduced to the rabbi, and they're off on a little tour of Israel, talking smack with the tour guide. The aliens are watching. They see him blow a shofar with the Star of David on his big shirt that he just bought at a tourist trap. And they track him in the next page. And when he's alone on the balcony, they teleport him or beam him up, as it would be, into their spaceship. And that's where we're at on page 7. But so that means I still have like page 7 is what, 13? No. I need 3, 10, and 4, so 17 more pages.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the art style is not going to get very complex. I'm going to do a passive shadowing and probably leave it at that for the 24-hour version.
Yeah.
But I'm going to get all 24 done one way or another.
When I finish this, I'll probably just use my light pad, go over it, and just clean it up.
Yep. Well, there's a guy I was looking. There's a kid who finished already, and there were big, gaudy, what you want to call it, panels and stuff. But it was good because he finished. He didn't take up a lot of real estate with panels, but he got through it. And a lot of people were saying that, hey man, at least you finished. And I was like, yep, that's where I'm looking at it. I just want to finish it.
If you can finish it, good for you.
Yep. But that just makes the whole thing better, I felt like I wasted my time last time when I failed. I was not that it was a waste of time, but I was like, it's like when you play in a football game and you think you're good and you don't catch a single ball. I've done that before.
You know what happened with you last year?
What's that?
You were so focused on how much time you had, you forgot to have fun with it.
Yeah, that's probably true. And this year, I'm really relaxed. Like when I went to lunch, I just chilled and went to lunch. And Diana was like, "Oh, you're gonna leave the room out?" Yeah, I need a break. I'm just gonna walk away from it, take a
Hmm.
half hour, 45 minutes, and chill. And that's a lot of time out of the 24 hours.
Yeah.
But what I get from doing that is so much better because then I'm kind of recharged. But
Also,
some of these, like this, is going to be a quick page.
yeah, some pages are quick faster than others. So, and you
And
don't
some
realize.
pages, I really have to go back and I'm going to have to touch up a lot of them to make them better. Like there's going to be a huge scene of 30,000 Israelites following David to go get the ark at one point.
Hmm.
And I'm like, holy sweet mother of God. I can silhouette that like over a hill or something. But to draw all those people would be like, I've done it with Cluster Fudge. I have a scene with thousands of people in it in the Cluster Fudge too. And it's not easy, man, to keep them consistent and in scale. And I'm like, yeah, I don't want to do the 30,000 army. I got to find a way to represent them without full detail. And I've seen other artists do some techniques that I'll probably steal where they're like just kind of
Hmm.
draw silhouettes and a couple of foreground characters and make it kind of easy.
Yeah.
But that's a big scene if you know the story. It's like
Yeah.
there's a ton of people, and my rabbi still hasn't told me what to do about the bulls.
Mhm.
He said, "Oh yes, they did this." He admitted that they sacrificed them because they have this belief that the number of man is six. So every 6 steps he sacrificed a bull so that he could show God that he was sorry he tried to do it his way. And I'm like, that's all great. I love it. But do I have the bulls just lying on the road behind them? Do they?
Right.
I really need to know because I need to draw that scene. I'm like, what am I gonna do? Oh well, it'll happen. He'll get out of service today and probably answer it because it is Shabbat or yeah, Shabbat Shalom. And of course, I guess technically I'm working on the Sabbath, but it's for a good cause.
Yeah. Like I said before, there are a lot of stories in the Bible that people just ignore.
Yeah.
The story of Samson and Delilah gets looked over all the time. Ooh, let me go. I'll contact you later.
All right, brother.
All right.
Dum bum 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 bum. Let's see. Maybe I need to get in the spirit of things. Hey, look, it's my stream. Okay. So I got to get into my mindset here. I want to look for... no. There we go. If you're watching this, you may have seen these before, but I'm going to play them anyways.
Grow your business with Wix e-commerce.
Let's see.
Create a
I pray as you sit here today, you're kind of pondering as your mindset's bouncing inside of your head, trying to figure out, is anyone watching? Because I think I gotta get out of here before things get real bad. Just hang in there. Remember, when God was here 2,000 years ago, when you have an encounter with God, when God really appears and begins to speak, it always ruffles some of those religious things that were so... I'm telling you, it's easy for us to open up our Bible and know the verse. It's so easy for us. I just wish I could bring you back in time 2,000 years ago when some rabbi looked around and said, if you don't eat me and drink my blood, you got no part in it. That did not sound right. That was not biblical. You see, every time God speaks, it's not biblical. It becomes biblical after He speaks it. Come on. Don't leave me up here all by myself. I'm about to run that. So here's the thing. You have come to hear something you're like, well, that sounds biblical. I agree with that. Hang in there. It's going to get a little funky. Because what God is about to show, what God is about to do, what God is about to do in this nation, in this land, in this world, is not of this world. And what's coming to this world is not of this world. There's a war, there's a kingdom. It's like the Super Bowl of Super Bowls. The spiritual battle is about to take place, and it's preparing its sons and daughters for this war. And then they sit around sipping on coffee, wondering how's your day, how's your day, sister? Won't you greet your brother? Won't you greet your sister? You gotta greet each other when you're not in church, so that when you get to church, you don't have to do the greeting, so that you can hear what God is saying. There is no more time for this. Oh, hi, brother. Hi, sister. How's everything? We'll be praying for you. No, God don't need you to pray for somebody. He needs you there next to them when you're going through the hard time, so that you can endure them. And maybe you may not have the faith or the ability to speak a word that's going to transform their life, but you know what? Maybe they just need a friend next to them. Without a word, without a promise, without nothing, just with hands and feet and eyes and a mouth to say, I don't know how to fix your problem, but I'm not letting you go. I'm not letting you go alone. We're looking to get some miracles, and God is saying, why are you looking for the supernatural when you can't even do the natural? God wants so much to awaken His children.
People with ADHD save 10 hours studying with this Chrome extension. But no, by all means, go ahead, skip the ad, save a few seconds.
I have to do a lot of reading for my job, emails, reports, write-ups, but sometimes reading can get really. To stay focused, I use a free Chrome extension called Speechify. All I do is highlight the text, right-click, and then Speechify reads it out to me.
SEC data shows $159 million on GameStop shares available.
I can increase the speed and pick from a variety of really high-quality voices, which just makes it so much easier to focus. I can now listen twice as fast as I can read. My eyes don't get strained, especially if I'm working at night. And with one click, I can send
you really have to go back to understand where you are. If you don't know where you come from, you know where you're headed. It's impossible. See, we don't even know why. We don't even know why we were formed out of mud. God, our Father, who speaks all things into existence, He's seeking the light, He's seeking all kinds of things, and they're hearing. My God, the word of God comes forth. Boom! There it is. Whoa! And then God is about to do one of the most amazing things. He's about to reveal to the universe that He just created what He looks like. Because no one has seen God, and instead of seeking that as a reality, He decides to look at some mud and bring it up and start forming this mud into space. And let me tell you something, I never came to see what God looked like, because no one will ever see God. And that angel came look at this little going on. It's God the Creator as He was forming Adam. No one had ever seen Him. Why don't we just speak this thing? Why don't we just speak it? Let there be man. And man will appear. God could not speak man into being because if He did, He would return creation. God never brought us into this state of eternal creation. He brought us into this state of His sons and daughters. He doesn't create sons and daughters. He forms them. This is what God does. And so He brings us out of the mud. Why? Because God knows that when you take seed and you put it into the dirt, this seed is going to multiply. And when you put it into the dirt, it's going to multiply itself. And this is why we're not here following something. We're becoming that what we think we're following. When you're a baby, ain't nothing better than your mother's breast. You're drinking and drinking and drinking. You don't need no utensils to eat because you're a baby. But when you start growing little teeth, Mama looked, and she started to get a little spoon, put you some little in your mouth. And I first, you know what they do? They just spit it out. They don't like that. Well, but you might get it. So she pushes stuff into your mouth. You see, so you go from the soft breast where you don't need any utensils, and then there's someone using any utensil, which is kind of round and safe, and then it's to feed you. But when you mature, you start eating T-bone steak, and you have some sound instruments, you got a knife, and you got a fork, and you don't even know what to tell you how to eat. You just start cutting your food and eating it. The problem with the body inside is that we've been sucking on milk for way too long, listening to the same messages day after day, week after week. How many times you need to hear that Jesus done love you and He died for you? And how many times you have to go in front of the cross? He ain't there no more. He's moving on, and people don't need a 2,000-year revelation of Jesus. They need a revelation of I am today. They need to see Him today. They need to see Him in you today.
Introducing SpeechUp, the most natural sounding text-to-speech software on the market. Hey, I'm Joey, and I'm one of the 30 AI voices from SpeechUp. You listened to this video until now, and you probably couldn't tell I'm not a real human voice. That's because I understand exactly what each phrase is saying, and I know how to put inflections in my voice, just like a real human would do. I was coded in that way that my neuro-linguistic engine will analyze the phrases, and I'll understand when I'm enumerating something, when I have to emphasize a word, or I need to take a deep breath. But you don't have to worry about any of these things. With SpeechUp, you can generate as many voiceovers as you want with only 3 clicks. Yes, you heard me right. Only 3 clicks. Click number 1. Just paste the text you want to be transformed into speech in our online text editor. Click number 2. Choose the language and voice that you want to use. Alpha male, female, and little kids' voices. And finally, click number 3. Click on generate, and in 5 seconds your voiceover is ready to be downloaded. How cool is that? And you didn't have to pay a single cent. And didn't have to wait a week to receive the voiceover. We offer voices that are perfect for training videos, voices that are perfect for presentation videos, and voices that sound like Hollywood movie trailers, and even kid voices that sound joyful, innocent. All our voices have elements that make a voice sound, and include all the voice expressions needed to make people more engaged with content and make it sound professional. Actually, 98% of the people hearing the voiceover generated with SpeechLo can't tell it's not a real human voice. This video is created with a voice from SpeechLo, and you are still here watching and listening to what I have to say. That proves my point. So here is the deal. For a limited time, you're getting a deal of a lifetime. Normally, we will sell SpeechLo as a monthly recurring service. But today, because you are in the first 1,000 people to join, you get the special founders offer. You can get SpeechLo for a ridiculously low one-time fee and no monthly recurrence. The price you see on this page is the lowest it'll ever be.